Hi, welcome to Penguins Wanderlust, vlogging every day in April challenge. Today I'm going to talk about Burning Man regionals. These are kind of smaller versions of Burning Man. The largest one is Africa Burn, with Africa spelled with a K, and it takes place in South Africa. And I think it has about 10,000 people. And I have a friend that lives over there that I think she's in Mozambique. Anyway, she goes to it. The last couple years she's had trouble getting tickets. It used to be that she went with her entire family and, aunts and uncles and relatives, but the last couple years it's been harder to get tickets for that, like every other burn there is around the world. So depending on where you live in the world or where you want to go traveling, you can look up on the burningman.org regional network page. You can find out where there's different things happening, and you can find out when the events are. So when I went down to Louisiana to visit my brother, it just happened to be convenient that there was going to be the New Orleans, Louisiana burn on one of the weekends. So I arranged my trip so that I could go to both. And all of these different regional burns, people might say, well, that's not the same as going to Burning Man. However, you can have a much more active participatory role in a smaller burn. At the New Orleans one, I managed to meet quite a few people, and I was part of their fire show. And the high point of that burn to me was I got to burn steel wool. That was really fun. And all of the burns are different. Burning Man takes place in Black Rock Desert, which is high desert, and nothing grows there. And it's very flat and very open and very windy and very hot. Whereas the one in Louisiana, it was in the bayou on an alligator farm, and it was very muddy and wet. And so it depends. The one that I went to in Sweden, I went on the island of Gotland, which is the southeast corner of Sweden. It's quite a rocky island, and it's flat, unlike the islands around Vancouver Island, like Salt Spring, where it's up and down, up and down. Gotland was flat. A lot of people bicycle there because it's very easy to get around, and it doesn't take a lot of effort to bike on a flat area. People used a lot more public transit to get there than they do at the ones here. And it was in a quarry, a rock quarry, and so they had the theme camps inside the quarry, and then most of the camping was in the forest above the quarry. The ones that we have here in British Columbia, the very first one that I went to was on the Sunshine Coast, and that was the Vancouver regional group that put that on one spring. And it was had mountains and was beautiful. They also have some Vancouver burns that I went to one in Squamish. It was in the forest by a glacial river, and it was very exciting because we had a flash flood, and we had to move everything because everything got wet. But it was fun. And the next day you could see the chunks of ice floating in the river. The ones that we have here on Vancouver Island, oh, look at the hummingbird. Spring has sprung. we're back to being warmer days. Anyway, the ones that we have on Vancouver Island also take place in forests. So they're all different. They all have their own feeling. The ones in the Seattle ones that take place in Washington are also in the forest. And they're worthwhile checking out. They have another big regional is the one that they have in Texas called Flipside. I had one of my friends went to that last year. There's one in Edmonton, Alberta, called Freezerburn. There's one in Toronto called Mooseburn, and they are all over the place. And they follow a general format that there is usually an effigy burn on the Saturday night, on burn night, if they can manage it. But many different areas have fire restrictions in the summertime so that they don't get wildfires or like forest fires happening. So sometimes they just have to make do with LED instead of fire shows, and instead of having like an effigy burn, they just get to gift the effigy somewhere else or burn it later. That's becoming a bigger concern now, is where you can actually have these kinds of burns. They didn't have a burn at the Scandinavian one, which is called the Borderland, because of fire restrictions, so they had candles instead, little tea lights. The one British girl that I met there said that was the third burn she had been to, and she hadn't yet seen a burn at a burn. So it can happen. Anyway, tonight is the last improv class for level 3, so going to have supper now and go off to class. So hope you enjoy your evening. Bye.